Well, it's now time to comb the writers from throughout the state of California to help you gain clarity on the resumption of high school sports in the state of California. So for now, let's get to the big issue, the resumption of high school sports in California.
Hey guys, Dan Albano here, OC Varsity, with I think a very important update on high school sports and the newly released guidelines.
And I think there was a lot of concern, James, if you go back a couple of weeks. I know you mentioned it on Twitter. I've talked about it. The way the tier structure had been set up, it looked almost impossible for schools to ever meet the threshold to start, especially football.
They were pretty much thinking that there's no way we're going to play this fall, which is quickly running out of the season, right? That's, for water polo, perhaps it's the deadline for the season is mid-March, and for football, it's mid-April.
I mean, I didn't think it was going to happen.
Watching on Super Bowl Sunday, I wasn't really too optimistic that a football season could be played in California, but I was kind of 50-50 the entire summer and spring, or leading up to the spring.
I mean, early on, December, I was definitely losing hope.
Looking bleak for some parts of the state, especially in crowded South California, but optimistic and hopeful.
Everything that I heard from the Let Them Play coaches, they always said that the state was working with them to have a football season.
But as we got to the Super Bowl, and I'm watching these guys and the other advocates put in hour after hour, and we're reporting this all along. And then for Patrick Walsh on Super Bowl Sunday, right after the Super Bowl, to drop a Zoom video that he had recorded, I think 2 weeks earlier, with Tom Brady, dropping that, talking about youth sports and the importance of youth sports. I'm like, these guys are going all out.
Darn, James, here we are. So we've got a chance. In last week's news of loosening the restrictions is what the CIF, it's what coaches, it's what administrators, players, advocacy groups have been pushing for.
Big caveats. It's the 14 per case load for 100,000 is a big caveat. Not all the counties are there yet. I think a lot of them are going to get there.
Of course, remember, school districts and private schools can choose to be more restrictive than the California Department of Public Health guidance. So in LA Unified, if LA County's at 14, they're not going to play football right away. But maybe Palos Verdes High School would play right away because they're not in LAUSD and their district could allow them to play.
Just because it's green light go doesn't mean everybody's going to go. You still have to have districts to approve. And some of them are small districts, and they may say, no, we just don't have the manpower to do all this testing.
And then there's also the travel restrictions, which don't get a lot of attention, but you can only play a school that's in your county or a bordering county.
Which is funny. So say a Sierra Canyon High School way up there in LA County struggles to get games because they play in that league where it's only them and Paraclete to determine a playoff spot. They could technically play a team in Orange County because they are in bordering counties, even though it's so far away, Sierra Canyon and an Orange County team. So the geography is really interesting. And
we're chasing a story today because we're hearing that San Francisco County now might not allow, they might not follow the guidelines. They might have stricter guidelines.
The Trans Valley League, which is, I might say as someone from Southern California, Trans Valley League is the best small school league probably in the state. They've had 3 state champions in the last 2 years in football, 2 last year. They have teams in or schools in 3 different counties, and they've already moved away through some of that. A couple of schools have gone to the Valley Oak League, which is in San Joaquin County.
And there's got to be a weekly testing program.
I was talking to Ronichetti about that earlier, and he really made it clear. That was one of the big sticking points in their discussions.
Otherwise, we would have had a break on have and have nots. You could see where private schools would have been able to pull it off because they have their own financing. And public schools, a lot of them might not have had a chance. So testing's not a new one.
So what they've agreed is, yes, the state will flip the bill on all of that testing.
And made it easier for these sports in season 1 and, of course, in season 2, where soccer and lacrosse reside. So these high contact outdoor sports can be played in the red or the purple.
Once you reach that 14 threshold, okay, then you get to finish the season. It doesn't matter if you go back over. If there's a surge and you go back over, you will get to finish the season.
So what this means is that, high school football is going to start gearing up, and high school water polo is going to be gearing up to have competition. They're going to join the fray, the competition fray that's going on right now in the purple tier with cross country.
And it allows a lot of football teams in California to play probably 4 to 5 to 6 games this season, which is, it's going to count as a season.
Schools, what schools are going to play? Well, schools that are organized. The powerhouse programs, whether it's public school, private school, small school, medium school, large school, tradition rich schools, where they've got strong coaching, where they're not coming and going all the time, where they have administration that's set in place, where they have booster clubs that are always there on Friday nights to help run an event, and they're going to need to have all hands on deck. And some schools, the ones that struggle to win 1 or 2 games a year over the years, they may not be ready to go. They may not have that manpower.
Come spring, Jimmy, baseball, softball, boys and girls soccer, I think you're looking at a full season.
I think we're going to get baseball and softball. I think we'll hit it by like April at the latest, April 1st. Yeah, I definitely think baseball and softball are going to happen.
I mean, baseball's huge in this area. I put out a tweet yesterday about how many Pac-12 players come from this area. It's unbelievable. I mean, I know the 2022 class here in Sacramento is going to be loaded with Pac-12, Power 5, and even potential draft picks.
What about the sport that should be in the playoffs right now, basketball, boys? When are we going to see any of that?
That's a good question.
I don't. And I think it's frustrating because there's, 43 states have played high school basketball. There was this chart, I think the coach of Moore Park High, I think Ryan Moore is his name. And yeah, 43 states have, played basketball.
Maybe we could get a season in some schools and some counties and some districts, but I don't think they'll be playing in LAUSD. That would be my guess.
You heard the governor say that's a different question altogether. I don't think he's ready to dive into that one yet. Indoor sports are a much tougher sell.
I don't know if anyone's going to play outside. They're practicing outside now, but I don't know about playing games.
Find one kid who's going to take a charge on cement pavement. And I played basketball a little bit, not just for fun, on the outdoor pavement, and it's not fun at all. So good luck having a recreational game.
It's Ron Gladnick at Torrey Pines, Patrick Walsh up there at Sarah San Mateo, Justin Allenbaugh.
They're running point the entire time. I think their effort should be applauded by everybody.
Coach Allenbaugh, played for De La Salle in 1997.
Patrick started the 151 game winning streak. He was the motivating factor. Bob Loudiser told me 2 or 3 weeks ago that when they lost to Pittsburgh High School in the 1991 NCS championship game at the Oakland Coliseum, Patrick was a junior that year, and he set the tone in the off season for everything that De La Salle would become.
And I think it's just a credit to their program. These are two coaches who are part of the 151 game winning streak. Patrick was on the team that started it. Justin was on the team that broke the national record for winning streak. And they're still, it's amazing how these De La Salle football players and De La Salle athletes look out for everybody.
The Let Us Play movement was about football and some of these outdoor sports.
Governor Newsom doesn't care that he's out to ruin these kids. The media doesn't care. That's the most laughable of them all.
As they pointed out, the Let Them Play California was not a political movement. They tried to keep politics completely out of it.
Facebook group can get kind of messy. It's a lot, and they've from the beginning have really tried to not make it political, but there's over 60,000 people in there. It's tough to not be political. And the main guys, Bradley Hensley, who's the leader, from San Diego. The main coaches, they haven't been political, like I said, so they deserve a lot of credit.
The coaches now know that they can get together and they can work towards a common goal.
You know, we can get out of the politics of all that and just get sports back, whether it's your local AYSO or your little league, your club teams and high schools. Let's just meet that criteria so that everyone can start up and we can start feeling some normalcy again.
I almost have, I'm almost re-energized now. I mean, because it was like, it took it for granted, right? It took everything for, you know, we were going to have football every fall, going to have basketball every winter. You're going to have spring sports in the spring. This has changed everything. You don't take anything for granted anymore.
It's going to be a 2021 spring season. There'll be teams of the year, coaches of the year, players of the year, all state teams, all that stuff will get to happen now because of today.